Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Show Me Show podcast for episode 62. I don't know what number is special 62, but this episode is going to be special, let me tell you, because we got NBA playoff talk, we got NHL playoff talk, we got tough scene of the week, which the last few tough scenes we've had have been excellent, so expect this one to be just as good. The tough scenes have been very, very good as of recent, and then we'll talk some Cardinals, maybe a little bit, and then say hello, kiss, and goodbye to wrap up the show. Very simple show today. Preparing for maybe a big show next week. Stay tuned for the end of the episode to get some hints, maybe. And yeah, let's get into it. NBA talk, Cam. The Lakers were swept by the Denver Nuggets. And you want to start off with that series because the next one might take longer to talk about.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what game we left off with when
we were watching game 2 live.
Okay.
Whenever we recorded, and the Heat and Celtics had just played game 1, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Well, the Lakers got swept, and it was a different kind of sweep because every single game was close. Except I think game 3 kind of got away from, or maybe it was game 2, but it was still close the entire time until just at the very end they pulled away. But game 4 in LA, LeBron dropped 31, I think, in the first half. I mean, it was insane to watch. Like, he was not going to let them lose. And yet he dropped 30, and they were only up by a few at half. And then the Nuggets just started roaring back in the third quarter, and they really didn't look back. And the Lakers were able to keep up a little bit, but they could never cut the lead enough, and it was just over before you knew it. And they got swept. LeBron, I think, had 40, but so he kind of definitely gassed out after the first half. Only able to drop in 10. Not that 10's bad and a half, but when it's LeBron, you expect a little bit more, especially after he dropped 30 in the first half. But the bottom line is, Luke, is the Nuggets are pretty deep, and they just have a lot of scores. Like, to when one guy's having a rough night, it doesn't really matter. And Shaq always said, you always got to have another dominant piece when it's the big man is the best player, and it's usually a point guard or a guard. With Shaq, it was Kobe. It was with Dwayne Wade. It was with Penny Hardaway. They just could never get to the finish line. And there's been some other examples throughout history, but it's Jokic and it's Jamal Murray. And Jamal Murray, I mean, if he plays like that during the finals, he could actually win Finals MVP. I mean, he averaged 30 points per game in the series. Granted, I think Jokic averaged a triple-double, so he'd probably win MVP too. But, I mean, it's just insane. Me and Luke, I think we rambled on about this last week. Gordon is playing good. Michael Porter Jr., he's just ripping threes. He's not making all of them, but he is just letting it rip. And that's a pretty good third option as well. And then you just got some veteran guys that have been there before, like KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Jeff Green has been getting an unusual amount of minutes, which is funny to see. But he is a vet, and he's been in the league for a while. He's not playing bad. Like, he's definitely playing good defense. And he was playing solid defense on LeBron the other night. So they're just deep. And they have Jokic, who just controls everything like a point guard from the center position. And me and Luke talked about it. He's the best player in the world. And I mean, that's really all you got to say. I mean, Nuggets are the best team left of the three that are left.
So. Which is weird because coming into the season, not the season, but the postseason, I think we both agreed that the Celtics were the best team. And we're kind of seeing some of their weaknesses.
I thought the Bucks were. I think my prediction for the finals was Bucks Nuggets. I think I went full chalk.
Yeah, I think you did because I think I remember making fun of you. But you did pick the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
And I remember you specifically saying when I was like, oh, you have to have the Lakers going if you have them going that far. And you said, they can't stop Jokic. I distinctly remember you telling me that on the air. And, they pretty much – they couldn't. There was nothing they could do. There were countless times where Jokic would just, like, oh, there's 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Let me just throw the ball over my head like I'm just, taking warm-up shots for a pickup game, and it just goes in for a three-pointer. When you have stuff like that falling, there's nothing you could possibly do as the other team. I mean, you could maybe say, oh, if AD played a little better. AD played excellent. Oh, maybe if they hit some shots down the stretch, sure, you could always say that. But when you have two guys playing that well, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, it's an unstoppable formula. I remember like when they were going for the podium and they were getting ready to announce the MVP of the series, because they do that, right? They started doing that this year.
Yeah, some like what Western Conference
Yeah.
Final, or I think it's like the Jerry West Trophy or some shit like
Yeah.
that.
They introduced that very recently, like the conference finals trophy. And I was like, is this going to go to Jokic or is it going to go to Murray? Like, I was genuinely a little curious because I was like, they've both been excellent in their own way, but Jokic is the leader of the team. He is the facilitator of that offense. So that award did go to him, as it probably should have. And so should have the regular season MVP, but we've talked about that enough. Yeah, this Nuggets team they're looking good. They're looking good. This was the first time in their franchise history that they've gone to the finals, and it's also the first time that they've swept an opponent in the postseason. So a double whammy there for them in game 4. Yeah, I mean, they were the better team in that series. The Lakers had a great run. They weren't supposed to be here. We'll say that. They kind of surprised everyone. They turned their season around when they needed to, when they absolutely needed to. They procrastinated that series or this season, kind of like the Celtics. They're procrastinating their series right now too. Just the way the world is working right now, a lot of procrastinating. Even it's trickling down into the sports. So, but the Lakers they couldn't quite pull it out. LeBron in his post game interview hinted at thinking. He's got to do some thinking, which, me and you, we've been doing a lot of thinking lately. LeBron, I can't even imagine the amount of thinking that LeBron is doing right now. He's probably thinking so hard, thinking about so much. He's thinking, if you know what I mean, Cam.
He's definitely thinking. I mean, he's got a lot to think about.
He does.
He did play with a torn ligament in his foot all postseason, which is not a shock coming off that foot surgery that he just re-injured it. I'm assuming it's the same foot. They played through it, obviously. And you're right. I mean, this is what I've been. I was talking with a friend last night. We were talking about this, and the bottom line is, all true stud athletes contemplate retirement after they get swept. They all do it. It just hurts that bad. I mean, I remember Giannis. I don't even think he got swept a few years ago, but he was only like 26 or 27 years old. They lost in the playoffs, and he contemplated retirement. I mean, they when you get swept, you just contemplate retirement. And LeBron's 20 years in, but I don't think he's going to retire just because the Bronny thing, and he actually had a damn good year despite the injuries. He can still play.
He's still better than 90% of the league.
That's what he said. I think he said 95%, and I agree. I mean, I don't think he's in the top 5%,
Yeah. Me and my dad were doing the math on that the other day. If he was in the top 10% of the league, better than 90%, that he would be a top 36 player. That's definitely, yes, that's true. He is 100% correct on that.
60 players in the league, yeah, something like that.
Now, if he's better than 95% of the league in the top 5%, which he said maybe, that would be top 18, which I would put him there. I'd put him at the tail end of that.
I think I could put him in there, yeah.
Yeah, it's arguable, though. It's not definite. I
Especially
think I'd put him in the 10 to 18 range, but yeah, there's no way that he retires. I think the worst possible case scenario is that he does like a Gronk or a Marshawn Lynch and he just takes a year off, says he's retiring, and then when Bronny gets drafted to the NBA, he signs with that team. Personally, when he said that he's got a lot of thinking to do, I didn't take it as retirement. I took it as my future with the Lakers. He's won a championship with them. Now, Bronny is going to USC. As of now, he could decommit, but he's committed to USC, which is in the LA area. So LeBron with the Lakers, Bronny with the Trojans of USC. They're right there next to each other. So geographical wise, the Lakers makes a lot of sense. But as far as the team, I don't really know if this is a team that's going to win a championship in the next few years. And I think LeBron might see that. You know, LeBron knows he's at the end of his career here. He's got to win some championships. That's the only reason he's playing. He said, at this point in my career, I'm not playing for a Western Conference Finals appearance. And that is so true. I mean, he's been to 10 finals. He's not going for the runner-up to the finals at this point in his career. He wants to go there and win it all. And I think he's starting to see that the Lakers are trending in maybe the wrong direction. You know, missing the playoffs completely last year, given all they had this year and then being ultimately swept. It's not very encouraging for someone like him. So that could mean maybe requesting a trade.
Yeah, but then where do you go? Where do you go? Do you go to I mean, you only have a few options if you're talking about true title contenders. Nuggets, Warriors, Celtics, Bucks, Suns. I wouldn't want to. I mean, that's basically it. Those are your contenders left.
What about the Heat?
We'll talk about the Heat here in a moment.
I think if LeBron went to the Heat, they would be a title contender. LeBron and Jimmy Butler.
Here in a moment.
All right. Yeah, those are definitely the big four. The Warriors, in my opinion, out of those four would make the most sense.
I agree.
But I don't want him to do that because kind of LeBron's career, at least in the last half decade, has just been a big rivalry with the Warriors, pretty much. Like whenever the Lakers beat the Warriors this year, all the LeBron fans were super happy because that's the team he's got to beat. If he goes and joins them, I don't know. It might tarnish his legacy a little bit. And I don't want to say that, but very well could.
As disgusting as it is, Luke, the Celtics would be insanity. It would be absolute insanity if he somehow got to the Celtics.
There's a 0% chance he goes there. I'm telling you.
I know, but that would be insanity.
I think there's also a 0% chance he goes to the Bucks because he does not want.
I was just naming contenders.
Yeah, I know.
There's not that many. I mean, there's not that many teams that are that much better than the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers. I know you said you think they might be trending down. I don't completely necessarily agree with that. I mean, Rui, Austin Reeves, they all played really, really well. AD, I know a few minutes ago you said that AD played well in the series. He played well in game one. That was pretty much about it. He fell off pretty fast. They figured out AD pretty quickly.
He didn't play bad though. He just wasn't.
No, but
dominant.
You need he's the best player on the team, like it or not. So you kind of needed him to step up. Instead, it was more of LeBron. So in all the games, really, besides game one, and even game one, LeBron scored 26. But yeah, I mean, I agree. He's probably going to be looking for a contender. I think we can both agree that he's not going to retire, though. So
yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. It's the caliber that he's playing at right now, the stuff he still has left to prove, and the Bronny factor. It just doesn't make any sense. And I also heard someone on the Part of My Take podcast. They talked about LeBron is going to do a retirement tour. That's just who he is. And whenever they said that, definitely. I was like, you know what? That makes so much sense. That is a LeBron thing to do. He is like Coach K in that facet of the game where he is going to be like, yes, I'm taking a retirement tour.
Yeah.
So the fact that he wouldn't retire cold turkey.
Most good players do. I mean, Kobe did, Dwayne Wade did. They all did that. So Dirk, yeah. I mean, so that would not shock me one bit. And obviously the LeBron factor. And that would make it, honestly, 10 times more astonishing if he's like, I'm done. Yeah. And then just done. He's like actually done, and all he does is just go to like Bronny's games and I can't remember his other son's name. His games. Yeah.
There's so many Bryces right now. Bryce is an up and coming name, just to put that out there, I feel like. In the MLB, there was like 5 Bryces that debuted in the last few weeks, and I was like, oh my god.
Bryce Young.
Yeah, Bryce Young, number 1 overall pick. Bryce might be the number 1 up and coming name of 2023. Keep that in mind. Watch out for Bryce's. What were we talking about? LeBron? Oh,
Yeah.
got distracted there.
We can move on though.
It was a very weird feeling though, because I was in my basement playing video games at like 11 o'clock at night whenever I got the notification that was like LeBron hints at retirement from Bleacher Report. I got that notification and it took me back. I was like, what? Because that was the first time I had genuinely thought about LeBron retiring ever in my life. He's been around my entire life. He's been the NBA. When I think of the NBA, I think of LeBron. My entire life, it's been that way. And to have just the thought in my mind that he wouldn't be there anymore was a crazy thing. Like, yeah, there is one day he's not going to be in the league anymore. And it's going to completely change my outlook. It's going to be like Tom Brady this year. Like, not having Tom Brady in the NFL is going to be weird. Maybe not as weird as the LeBron thing because there's other storylines in the NFL, but in the NBA, everything comes back to LeBron. Everything. Even the Nuggets swept them. What was ESPN talking about the next morning? LeBron. The Nuggets swept the Lakers. What have we spent the last 10 minutes talking about instead of the Nuggets sweeping the Lakers? LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
He is the NBA. So, but yeah, the Nuggets scare me because Stan Kroenke, he can't keep getting away with this. But you want to talk about the series to see who can stop him?
Yes, Heat Celtics. This one is heating up, no pun intended. I mean, this is scary, Luke. If you haven't noticed, me and Luke is actually a Heat fan. He's been a Heat fan for a while. I am a Jimmy Butler stan. I think a Jimmy Butler ring would go so hard. And I hate the city of Boston. I think it's it's a racist ass city. I don't like it. They're cocky as all get out.
They're so cocky too. Yeah.
Justified. Don't get me wrong, justified. I mean, all they do is win, but it doesn't mean I have to like them. So this is my biggest note. And we'll talk about some of the games. Game 6 tomorrow is Game 7 for the Heat.
I've heard that.
You might be like, what the hell are they talking about? You play 7 games for a reason. No, Game 6 tomorrow at home in Miami is Game 7. I mean, if you lose 3 in a row, 2 at home with the chance to close it out, and then you got to go back to Boston. Big Mo is completely switched. He is on the Celtics side, and Jimmy Butler, I'll say it, he has not been that great in the past 3 games, really.
Yeah.
Even that Game 3 that they won, he only had like 16. And the biggest thing was so prevalent last night, so prevalent because Kyle Lowry was awful. Gabe Vincent being out is treacherous for the Heat. I mean, it is so bad. They need him bad. And it wouldn't be like that if they had Hero and Victor Oladipo, because then they would at least have 2 more ball handlers. Last night, it was Kyle Lowry running the goddamn show. And, we got to the point where they had guys in the lineup that I had to look up. The main guy being Haywood Highsmith, who played some major minutes down the stretch of that game. And I'm like, who the hell is Haywood Highsmith?
Is that the brother of Cedric?
I have no idea, but he went to a Division II school. He was the Division II Player of the Year. So shout out. But that's where the Heat are in the lineup. So
that's crazy. They're really throwing out D2 players here to close out an Eastern Conference Finals series. That is insane.
In the game, I was like, maybe that is part of the reason why there was, because they had like Duncan Robinson out there, who's D3. They had Haywood Highsmith out there, who's D2. Jimmy Butler, I'm pretty sure, started at a community college, but obviously Jimmy Butler's a stud. Caleb Martin, before he went to Nevada, was at somewhere way smaller.
No, it wasn't smaller, I don't think. Caleb Martin. Because he went somewhere, it was was it Cincinnati maybe? Caleb Martin College.
State.
Huh?
My point still stands. He went to North
NC
Carolina
State.
State.
Yeah, that's not that much worse of a school than Nevada, I wouldn't say.
I would say it's actually better, but I hate them.
Probably.
So
Definitely.
But yeah. But anyway, when you have D2, D3 guys out on the court, and they had 4 guys score 20 points last night. That's the first time the Celtics have done that all year long. So they weren't winning that game no matter what. In fact, they were down 15 points after the first quarter, and they pretty much were down 15 and 18 the rest of the game. So they kept pace the whole game. But after that first quarter, it was lights out. Who was really lights out was Derek White. He made a boatload of threes and pretty much knocked the Heat out of the game from the jump. But like we said, 4 guys scored 20 points, so they were never gonna win that game in the first place. So, and one thing I wanted to point out about this team is if there was ever going to be a team that would blow a 3-0 lead, this is the team that it would happen to, the Miami Heat, because their roster is just mid at best. It really is. The roster is mid. And right now, I would say it's honestly kind of teetering on it's kind of ass right now because of all the injuries right now. It really is. I mean, when I look at their roster, like when their starting 5 last night was like Butler, the Strus is loose, Kevin Love, Bam, and I think they had Caleb Martin come off the bench. Yeah, Kyle Lowry started. So, I mean, that roster is just not. It's kind of an eyesore, Lucas. So, yeah, that's why I'm saying if any team is going to blow a 3-0 lead, it's this team, and they're the 8 seed. Obviously, I mean, they are completely outmatched in talent, but you just got to win one more. So,
yep, that's the thing. But and what you say by when you say Game 6 is Game 7 tomorrow night, Saturday night, which will be tonight when the show comes out. Tonight decides the NBA Finals. In my opinion, it determines the winner of the NBA championship. If the Heat win, you can go ahead and hand it to the Nuggets. But if the Celtics win, they're definitely going to win the series. And if they come back from 3-0, oh boy, they are going to they're not going to lose. You can't come back from 3-0 and then lose.
I think the Nuggets are that good.
I
do too. Mo might get sat down.
Big Mo, that is undefeated Big Mo. The only other team I can think of to overcome a 3-0 deficit was the 2004 Red Sox, and they won the World Series that year. They destroyed the Cardinals in the World Series that year, let me repeat. Wasn't even close.
Yeah.
So,
but the Red Sox also were probably more talented than that Cardinals team.
That could be. I don't remember really. I didn't really watch that series. I was 2 years old. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I think the Heat will still win. It's still just it's weird. But I remember you telling me after Game 3 when the Heat were up 3-0 and ESPN released their thing and they're like, "Yep, Celtics still have a 75% chance to win the series." And everyone was like, "What?"
No, that was a butt crack sport graphic.
Oh, that was you told me it was ESPN.
No, listen. So Butt Crack Sports put out a meme that ESPN is still predicting them to win 75% to the Heat's 25% chance to win. No shit. Like 2 hours later, ESPN actually puts out a graphic that they have the Celtics still have a 73% chance to win, and the Heat a 27% chance to win. So Butt Crack Sports was literally right there predicting ESPN's graphic, which is just insanity. But
that isn't. They've been taking some like ball sack sports. They literally predicted every single award. It was like mid-March, and they're like, the NBA has officially announced the awards, and it was literally all of them word for word. I was like, wow. So they've been low key hitting on some of their takes lately.
You can never forget. I'll always remember this because this is still just mind boggling till this day. Ball Sack Sports literally shot Anthony Richardson up draft boards. And that's still insane to think about, that an account on Twitter named Ball Sack Sports helped get Anthony Richardson to the 4th overall pick in the draft. I mean, think about that. Ball Sack Sports helped Anthony Richardson make extras of millions of dollars, than what he would have made.
I actually think Anthony Richardson owes the owner of Ball Sack Sports a few $1,000s. Honestly, at least maybe a few hundreds of thousands of dollars. But just think about that. Ball Sack Sports is the reason why Will Levis was taken in the 2nd round by the Titans. Could have potentially changed the outlook of the NFL for a long time. Just think about that. How silly that sounds, but it's true. Well, that and Anthony Richardson's combine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
combination.
Ball Sack Sports took Anthony Richardson's combine performance and just absolutely capitalized on it so perfectly. It was I don't think I'm ever going to get over that. I don't know if that will ever happen again, the way he did that, but
that's why I'm not on the AR-15 train, because the reason he was drafted so high is because of a Ball Sack Sports account. So, all right, to wrap up NBA talk here, Cam, finals prediction right now.
I hate to do it, Luke. I think I've got the Celtics winning. I think they're going to win tomorrow, and then I think it's just over. So I'm going to go Nuggets Celtics, and I think the Nuggets will win. So hopefully I'm wrong. I know that's kind of
Nuggets
cliche. That's kind of cliche to, you're hoping against your pick, but I really, my heart really does believe that the Celtics are going to win, but I hope I'm wrong. So
Nuggets in how many games?
Shit, I think 5.
Wow.
I really don't think I don't think it's that close in terms of talent.
Okay.
Who the hell is going to guard Jokic on the Celtics? Robert Williams III? I don't know. It can't be Al Horford.
Yeah. I personally don't think you can guard Jokic. I think you just have to slow him. When you play Madden and you're in franchise mode and you have an X Factor player and you have 3 options, it's ignore him, slow him down, or neutralize him. I think the Jokic one, X Factor, you got to click slow down. You can't neutralize him because then he'll just pass it to his teammates. Boom. That doesn't fix the problem. You can't ignore him because he is a problem. You just got to slow him down. You can't guard him. You just have to hope maybe he has an off night and you capitalize on it. I will take the Nuggets in 6 games over the Miami Heat. I think the Heat win a couple games in that series.
I hope they do. I hope they get there. I really hope they get there.
Can you imagine how awesome that would be if the Heat beat the Nuggets in the finals, though?
I honestly can't imagine it because I don't see the world where it happens. I want to live in that world. That world is a little chaotic, and I'm itching for some chaos in sports. So that would be nice, but I don't see that world.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to imagine that too. As much as I want it to happen, because I like Jimmy Butler, I like Tyler Hero, I like the guys on the Heat. I love Eric Spoelstra, and I would love to see him win a title without LeBron. That would be awesome. Yeah, that's NBA talk. You want to get to tough scene?
Sounds good.
The week.
Yeah, I'll go first. My first tough scene, and I've actually been working on this lately, in terms of the refund, but I just accidentally ordered a blank Mizzou football jersey. I went to the custom name category, and then I accidentally just one click ordered it, and it just had no name and no number. So that was my tough scene. And then so I was like, oh shit. So I clicked reorder, and I thought it was going to change my order and fix it, but no, it just made me buy a second jersey. So I bought 2 jerseys, on accident, and I've been working on it, so hopefully I can get that figured out. But yeah, that was a tough scene.
Hey, what's wrong with a blank jersey? I ordered a blank jersey not that long ago.
Blank jersey. I'd rather have a name on it. So yeah.
I ordered a St. Louis soccer jersey the other day, and it was blank because I don't know any of the players.
That's different, though. I do know the players.
Okay.
And
Actually, I do know the players. I don't feel comfortable putting them on my jersey because I don't know them that well. Like, I know their best player is Leuven. I don't know what his first name is, and their goalie, I'm forgetting his name, but he's pretty good too. And yeah, that's about the extent of my soccer knowledge at this point.
Oh, and the problem with this is the seller is actually communicating back, but you can clearly tell he is Asian and speaks Chinese, and he's just translating it through a translator because like I keep saying the same shit, and he's just like, no, you have to do this, and I'll send him pictures showing him that I can't do that, and he's like, no, you just have to cancel it and reorder it, and it's been a whole whirlwind. So that's what happens sometimes when you buy from good old DHgate in China. So, but yeah, I'll get it figured out, I think. My next one is Michael Block finishing dead last in the Charles Schwab Open. If you don't know who Michael Block is, you actually probably do if you just watched SportsCenter for like 5 minutes in the past week. He was the darling of the PGA Championship last weekend when he finished top 15, just as a scratch tour player, pretty much. Who's just some guy who gives out golf lessons at a golf course, pretty much. And he made top 15, which means he's guaranteed a spot to come back and play next year at the PGA Championship,
which is cool.
Well, which was cool, but he is a big crier, cries after everything, which is a lot of the reason why the media ate his story up, because they love criers. But then he also went on to make some comments this week talking about that if he had Rory McIlroy, who's a stud golfer, that if he just had his length off the tee box, then he would be one of the top players in the world. And I shit you not, Michael Block finished 120 out of 120 golfers at the Charles Schwab Open this week. So tough scene for him. I'm kind of out on him as well. If we were doing in and out, I'm out on him.
I'm out on the block. Finished plus 15, which is 3 strokes ahead of the second worst at plus 12.
That's awful. So
yeah, that is a tough scene because he was literally in the perfect spot and then he just ruined it. So
yep. I guess one bonus tough scene. I fished for the past 2 hours before we hopped on. I didn't catch a single thing. Lots of bites, but they would just jump off. So
going fishing and not catching anything is one of the worst feelings ever.
It is, but it's still relaxing, so it's all right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, my tough scene. These are both involving baseball. So we've talked a lot of Cardinals on the show. Obviously, we've talked about the Cardinals, I think, almost every episode. But we haven't talked a lot about other MLB things that are going on. And last Saturday, the Blue Jays were playing... I don't remember. The Blue Jays were playing another team in the MLB. And Alek Manoah was on the mound in the 5th inning. And their manager walked out, had a meeting with him. Actually, the pitching coach walked out, had a meeting with him. And then a few batters later, the manager goes out to have another meeting with him, forgetting that the rule in the MLB is you once you have one mound visit, the second one you have to take the pitcher out. And so he walked out there just talking strategy, and then the ump is like, dude, you got to make a pitching change to the manager. And he was like, what? Oh, yeah, we do. And so they lost their pitcher prematurely because their manager forgot how many mound visits there were. I have heard some conspiracy theories about how maybe he did that on purpose because Manoah's pitch count wasn't exactly that high, and he was like, oh, I'm just going to go out there and act like an idiot so Manoah doesn't think I'm taking him out because he sucks, He thinks I just have to take him out because it's the rule. Which I don't think that happened. I like the other. I like the other one better because I'm not a John Schneider fan personally of the Blue Jays. So I like the theory that he just is stupid. I think that's funnier. But yeah, tough scene regardless. And then my other tough scene is just
You'll never
simply
guess who Alec Manoah's whose fantasy team he was on.
not yours.
No, he was on mine.
What? Alec Manoah's on your fantasy team?
Pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure that's false because I just tried to trade for him the other day, and it was not with you. So
Let's see. That's
that
how much I know.
Yep. Are you looking? Okay. All right. I'll give you a second here. Watching on the YouTube, Cam is just dumping peanuts into his mouth right now, which is kind of a tough scene in itself. He's just snacking hardcore. Nope, not on your fantasy team.
Nope, not on my team. It's Manea. Sorry, that's a false alarm.
Manaya? Oh, dude, you need to drop that guy. He sucks.
Gets me points.
No, he doesn't.
I'm up right now. I'm 5-2, Luke.
So am I.
So
and we're tied. You did beat me head to head though. So there's that.
Jordan Skywalkers. Don't have Jordan Walker on my team. He's not even in the league.
That's true.
Bomb
All
ass
right.
motherfucker.
My other tough scene, also involving an MLB team, is the Oakland Athletics. Just simply the Oakland Athletics. Their franchise is a tough scene right now. Their current record is 10-41. I take that back. They're 10-42, and they're already down 5-0 to the Astros in the third inning today. So they're about to be 10-43. Now, if you want to look at some of the worst records of all time, we can simply go here. The Oakland Athletics, I tweeted this yesterday on my Twitter. The Oakland Athletics are on pace for 130 losses this season. That would be the second most all time behind the 1899 Cleveland Spiders. If they continue this pace, they will finish with the third lowest winning percentage ever. This is including teams in the 1800s. Third lowest winning percentage ever, behind the Spiders, that aforementioned, and the 1890 Pittsburgh Alleghenies. They would be the third worst behind those two. If they continue at this pace, they will finish 98 games under 500. 22 more games under 500 than the 2003 Detroit Tigers, who currently hold the 11th take that back, who currently hold the 10th worst record in MLB history. We are witnessing an all-time season.
Did I not say this at the beginning of the season? This is like one of my biggest questions for Jacob Michael Baldwin.
Yep.
Are the A's going to be able to do a goddamn thing in terms of winning any kind of games? Jake thought that they weren't. Yeah, you're right. They have. You're right.
More than
they have won
this year.
You're right. They have won 10 games. Congratulations. I mean, I thought they were going to be dead last. They are dead last. They're just that bad. Nobody goes to the games. I mean, we have all kinds of crime. One of the biggest crimes in Oakland is leaving tickets in somebody else's vehicle. And it's really sad to see, but that's just how it is right now in Oakland. So,
yeah. And it's going to be in Las Vegas very soon because they officially this week reached the agreement to move to Las Vegas to build the stadium. They requested $500 million to build the stadium from the city, and the city laughed at it. They're like, no, we're not giving you that much money, dude. You've been penny pinching for 2 decades, John Fisher. For 2 decades, you can't spend a little extra cash on a new stadium in the city that you wanted to move to. This guy infuriates me so much. I'm not even an A's fan, but I hate this guy with all my guts. He is terrible for baseball. He's terrible for Oakland. He is a terrible businessman, and he's a bad human. He's an example of a human that should not be able to own a sports team. Personally, if the A's finish with that, what I just stated off, what they're on pace to do, or even if they finish worse than that, I think the owner should force him to sell. To let your team get that bad, intentionally get that bad, should be a crime in MLB standards. And I don't think the owner should put up with it.
I agree, but at least he knows how to tank properly. The St. Louis Blues could learn a thing or two from this guy. I mean, sure, is he an all-time asshole? Yes, but they are tanking properly.
They're tanking properly this year. The last decade, do you know how many players that they have had on their team that they have refused to pay to extend, that the fans have loved? Not even that, but they trade them prematurely when they still have 2 to 3 years left on their rookie deals. Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, Sean Murphy, Marcus Semien, Sean Manaea, just naming names.
I'm trying to, but this is it. This is actually a really good comparison for this. Is actually the St. Louis Rams. The St. Louis Rams knew that they were moving. We knew that we were moving. And you know what they did? They just let their roster falter because they knew that, they wanted it to be up and coming once they got to LA instead of the last few years, schemish years in St. Louis. They didn't give a shit. So they just kind of let it deplete. They didn't sign people until they got to LA. They wanted the number 1 pick when they got to LA. They got it. They got Goff, all this stuff. And then they started building from there. But they made sure to wait until they were in LA. Granted, they did have Aaron Donald his rookie year as a Ram, but other than that,
that's also when they fired. They waited till they moved to LA to fire Jeff Fisher too.
Yep, you're right.
They knew he was going to be a perfect coach for losing games, so they just kept him around. And you know how much we hate that guy, Stan Kroenke?
I mean, I'll say this. I think I've said it on the pod before. If he can dump a shitload of money into the University of Missouri, a part of it will be forgiven. A part of it. But I think
he's not going to do that.
I think his niece or something had her name on the name of the basketball arena, and then they found out that she cheated in school or something like that, so they had to take it off. So if you remember that, I don't know if
normal Kroenke activities.
Yeah. So I don't even think he's married. I don't even think he's married into the Walton family anymore. He's made his own money since then, but he got his start from the Walton family. So
he married the Walton daughter, took her money, invested it into the stock market very smartly, but it was her money he used, and then he made his own. Just a dirtbag. Exactly. He's just a dirtbag, and I think I've said it. I never wish death upon people, but he is one person I would probably applaud for if he died. I would feel no remorse whatsoever for him or his family.
Yeah, it's like that one meme, just stop by my biggest hater's funeral to make sure that he's dead. It's that meme. So.
I will tweet that image. So yeah, I will tweet it multiple times on the day that it's announced that he's dead, which probably won't be. How old is he?
Luke, he's probably going to outlive us, and that's the sad thing too.
Yeah, I'll probably die in my mid-30s. Kroenke will still
He's going to probably outlive us because that's just what those old bastards do.
He was born July 29th, 1947. So he turns 76 in 2 months.
All right, well.
That's kind of old.
He'll be old, but he's still going to be around for so long. I just know it.
He's got infinite money to just feed the healthcare system to keep him alive.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a tough scene for us, really.
Yeah, it really is.
Oakland, we can relate. Not with the same sport, because the Cardinals, thank God, actually try to compete a little bit. No, they do a pretty good job of competing. I'll say that. But yeah, we went through the same thing with our football team. And I think I stand with Oakland. I think they're doing the right thing by not going to the games. It's not a pretty sight for their fan base, but I think all the true MLB people know the reason why. When they were a competing team, they were packing the stands. but they've had enough. And I keep hearing renderings of them getting together for one game where they're just going to pack the stands with signs that are like, we are here, we're fans. It's not us, it's him. I want to know when that is. I I heard it. I don't know if it's actually going to happen. I really hope it does. That would be really, really cool. Like, could you imagine that the stadium that has had no fans all year, just one night, sells out, and all the fans are just, F John Fisher or whatever his name is. Fisher is his name. They start chanting it. They're holding the signs. We're here. Sell the team. Stuff like
Yeah.
that. That would
That's
just
what they
be
did at
awesome.
the last Rams game. I remember that.
Yep.
They chanted F Stan Kroenke. Still do
We
every
still
once in a
do
while.
at Avalanche
Yeah.
games. Yeah.
They still do it at they did it at the Battlehawks games at like the first couple home
Oh
games
yeah,
this
I
year.
remember hearing that on the broadcast.
Yeah. Beautiful. So
Speaking of
God's
speaking of
music.
the XFL, that's a tough scene. You let a 4-6 team win your championship. Really?
Bob Stoops, a champion once again.
That man. We beat them. We beat them in the regular season. We were
Yep.
3 games ahead of them in the standings, and we didn't even get a crack at the postseason. But they just get to dance in and win it all. So I think we can firmly announce and say that if we made it, we would have won it all, right?
By the adjacent property, yes.
Okay. That's what I'm hearing. XFL Battlehawks, St. Louis Battlehawks,
Adjacently champions.
adjacent champions. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We're coming for it next year, though. And that's tough scene. That was a weird tangent we got off there with the A's.
All right. What are we even doing next?
Cardinals? A little bit of
Sure.
Cardinals talk.
Yeah. Take it away.
All right. Cam's notes is he says on the Cardinals, I don't really give a rat's ass right now, which for him as a casual makes a lot of sense. I mean, we're starting to get into the dog days of the sun, end of May. That's kind of when it starts. Right before the, not right before, but way before the All-Star break. People just kind of start tuning out. So the people who are watching and talking about it right now are true fans. me. That's me. This past week, they had a very positive week. So when we last recorded, it was May 18th, and they won a shootout with the Dodgers on a Wayno bump day to give Wainwright his 196th win in his career. And then they went on to take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. On Saturday night was an electric game. Nolan Gorman comes in the 8th inning, 3-run bomb. Gallegos gets the call on the corner. And then Sunday, I didn't watch it all, but we won. DeYoung hit a 3-run homer as he does. And then he also hit a home run the next day against the Reds. In this series, we split. So I guess since we last recorded, we're 5-3, which is good. We're on the winning side of things now. Wainwright got another win in the Reds series, which is unusual. He doesn't typically do very well in Great American Ballpark if you look at his career. But he gets the win. He's now 3 wins away from 200. And if that happens, people will start talking about him as a Hall of Famer potentially. I think as Cardinal fans, for so long, we've just kind of been like, yeah, Wainwright's going to fall just short of the Hall of Fame, which 5 years ago, like when we kind of thought his career was ended, he wasn't having very good seasons. He was having a lot of injuries. His career was about done. We're like, yeah, he's going to come just short. The last 4 years of his career that he's put together here. Now this year's off to a bad start, but
yeah, but last pretty damn good.
They've been very good. And I honestly think they might be enough to push him over that edge and become a Hall of Famer. And I also think that MLB Hall of Fame voting is going to loosen just a little bit here because the fans are getting very annoyed with the lack of players getting into the Hall of Fame because the baseball writers, they get horny about voting. I feel like they just feel like it's such an important thing. They honestly, the baseball writers feel like voting for the Hall of Fame is like the most important thing they could possibly ever do in their life, which is kind of weird. But I think that will loosen up a little bit in the coming years because fans are getting a little upset about that. with the combination of that, Wainwright's stats, he's going to hit some milestones here. I think he might be a Hall of Famer. That might not be a topic for today's conversation, but I did
One thing
feel.
I will tag on to your this is that even if he is an eventual Hall of Famer, it is going to be such a long time before
It
he
won't be
gets
first
in
ballot.
because no, he's not, and he has to do the waiting, and he's not going to be first ballot. And there's other guys on the list that I'm sorry, they are more deserving than he is. So it's just gonna. I think it's just gonna be a while before he does.
Yeah, I think we all know that. He might be on the Scott Rowland track. Scott Rowland, it took him years and years to get into the Hall of Fame. More people eventually came around, and this year, on a weak ballot, it was a weak ballot this year, and weak ballots typically draw more votes for players that maybe are weaker caliber. So, if Wainwright gets 10 years on the ballot, one of those years is a little weaker, especially in his later years, 7 through 9 or something. He's going to get some votes, and I think he could potentially get in there. Yeah, I think people are going to give him a serious look for the Hall of Fame, if that makes any sense. And I don't feel like it's talked about enough here in St. Louis because whenever it's brought up, it's he's just short. He's going to get on the ballot, maybe stay on there for a few years, but he's not going to make it. He's not quite that caliber. I think we're really underestimating the last few years that he's had, and I think he will get a serious look for the Hall of Fame. Will he make it? I'm going to say he will by the skin of his teeth, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a battle with the baseball writers, but I think he will ultimately.
Yeah, we'll come back to this episode in like 15 years and we'll address this.
Oh yeah. Hold us accountable for it. Whenever he makes the Hall of Fame, yeah, I called it first. And then what else happened? Oh, Wednesday we got blown out because it was Steven Matt's day, and
Oh my God, that was a Matt's
we haven't won
masterclass.
In games that Steven Matz has started this year. Do you know how many games we've won?
1?
0. And that was completely made up, but it might actually be true, but it just feels like every time it's like, every time the Cardinals account on Twitter tweets, Matt's day on the mound, I'm like, looks like we're losing today. And it has nothing to, he hasn't been like a terrible pitcher. It's just his vibe is very bad. And he did have a bad outing on Wednesday night. And yeah, led to a blowout. And then Thursday, we put out the lineup. We didn't have any of our big guys in the lineup, but fortunately, Michaelis came to play, and we survived with a sweep. And then we won't talk about tonight's game at all yet, even though we lost. But
I think Michaelis is kind of back.
Oh yeah, he's back. You look at his last few starts, some of the numbers he's put up, and he's looked good.
Yeah.
If you take away a JD Martinez 3-run homer in the 6th inning on Saturday night's game, if this loads here.
Man, that's just baseball, though. I just think he's back,
Okay, so his last 4 starts, he has given up, if you take away that 3-run homer, just 2 earned runs. He's given up less than 5 hits every start. And he's gone 6 innings, 7 innings, 7 innings, and 4.1. So he's back. He's back. He's been better. He's had 3 straight quality starts, and he's given us a chance to win every single game. So that's good to see that we actually might have a good starting pitcher again. We had Montgomery at the beginning of the year. He's fallen off. Michaelis is taking the role now of the one good starting pitcher on our roster. So, congrats. You get a trophy. Here's your medal. Yeah, it's bad. I'm actually going to look up, if you want to talk a little bit about the Cardinals right now, I'm going to look up the Steven Matz thing because I'm interested now. See what our record
What's
is.
Steven Matt's thing?
What our record is in his starts.
Oh. We'll do an intermission here. NHL talk? I think both series ended in sweeps. I definitely know that the Florida Panthers swept the Canes. And fun fact about the Florida Panthers, they don't play in the same building as the Miami Heat, even though they're both in Miami. And Vegas, I believe, swept the Dallas Stars. And that's hockey talk. Also, Jimmy Butler wore Kachuk's uniform the other day. So, yeah. Yeah, that's hockey talk. Knights versus Florida Panthers in the finals. You know, Luke, I might watch one MLB or one NHL hockey game in
the finals.
Yeah. I know it's kind of big of me. That's kind of putting a lot out there, but NBA finals coming up. It's going to be, sports are going to be not going to be a whole lot on. I might watch one.
Okay, so I'm looking up the Steven Matt stat. We're actually 2-8 in games that he started. So, and actually, one of the games that we won was the game against the Tigers that ended the 8-game losing streak, where he gave up 6 runs. So, yeah, 2-8. We have a 200 winning percentage when he's out there on the mound, and that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with him. It does have something to do with it. It's his vibe. He's a bad vibe. When he goes out there, he's not a dog. He does not have any dog in him whatsoever. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, but hardly any of the players on the roster do. So I digress.
Yeah, you know what? Who on the Cardinals has dog in him? Who would you say? Would you say Gorman has dog in him?
No,
not yet. I think it's developing. I think he might have some puppy in him. He's got a puppy in him right now.
I really don't. I don't think there's any dogs on the team.
Brian Helsley?
No, I don't think Mark Hensley has a dog in him.
Adam Wainwright. Think about this one. He's an old dog. He's an old one.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe he used to.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. I mean,
I don't think he lose it.
He's your typical dog. It's like, oh, you can't teach him new tricks, though. You know.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
But,
he's got the dog in him. It's just he's very old.
You know, like when I think of dogs, it's a little bit different in MLB. It just is because you play 162. Like when I think about dogs, you know, like I think about, you know, like Jimmy Butler. I think about
Tom Brady.
Yes, Tom Brady for sure.
Definitely.
I think of, you know, Aaron Donald. He's a dog, you know. Guys like that. It's hard for me to think of, you know, I want to say guys like, it's just guys that really care so much and they just put so much out there on the line for their team every single night. Part of me wants to say like, you know, like Acuna, something like that. I feel like he kind of has a little bit of a dog.
I don't know if he's got the dog in him.
Like I wanted to say Shohei, but I don't even know if I can say Shohei. I don't. It's different. Baseball's not a big dog sport.
I think you could say someone like Jorge Soler. I think you could say someone like Justin Verlander.
You know, I was literally just thinking Verlander in terms of
Scherzer is a huge dog guy. He's got a lot of dog in him.
Yeah, he does.
So some like the big names, I think you can imagine a guy with dog in him. Here's a guy. I just thought of a guy on the Cardinals who has some dog in him. Wilson Contreras.
That was my other pick. Okay. But I was also I just didn't want to say it because it's also like he has some dog in him. He does. Because almost all catchers do. Not all of them, but guys like him and Yachty, they do. But he's also, you know, I feel like for dog, you have to have the dog in you, but you also have to be damn good. And, you know, Contreras is good, but I'm not saying he's damn good. I'm not saying that right now. And that's why it's still confusing because, like with Trout, you know, Trout and Shohei are the two best players on the planet probably, but Trout doesn't have the dog in him.
I would agree with that. I don't think Trout has the dog in him. I would say Shohei does. If you watch him in the World Baseball Classic, he has dog in him. I can confidently say that. I don't
In
know
the
if you
World
watched.
Baseball Classic. I did. Well, we did watch it.
Yeah.
But it's so hard for baseball. It almost feels like an exclusively pitcher thing, pitcher catcher thing, like just the weird psychos of the baseball
Yeah.
game.
Pitchers.
Although I'll say this, and this is Jose Altuve. I hate him. He's a bitch, but he's kind of a dog.
Oh, he's huge dog.
So that's
You know
another
who
one
is-
that I can.
You know who's turning into a dog too? Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah,
He is becoming a dog. He might be a stupid dog, but he's
Yeah.
a dog. All right, that's dog talk.
Yep, that was good.
Yeah, so we got Contreras, has dog in him. Adam Wainwright, he's a guy. He's a dog you can't teach new tricks. And then the other guy, I'm thinking maybe Brendan Donovan, but I
No,
don't think so.
no.
I don't think
Have
so.
you heard his walk-up music? No. Let's move on.
You hating on Rihanna or something?
He's not a dog, Luke. I'll tell you that right now.
Right.
It's different though. Like I said, it's different for baseball player because you can be a good baseball player. Hell, you can be a great baseball player, Trout, but you don't have the dog in him. That's just the bottom line. So,
I agree with that. But, and it pains me to say it about Arenado because he can be a passionate guy, but
yeah, I was thinking
I
about
haven't
him too
seen
because he
dog
is
in him.
passionate. But
I haven't seen dog in him yet.
yeah,
No, if we make the postseason, I think he's gonna go ham. But all right, that's that. And then do you want to do say hello, kiss, goodbye, or you have some NFL notes here? Do you want to do those?
I can run through some NFL notes.
Okay.
I wanted, maybe we'll just save this part for next week. The rules part. We'll
Okay.
talk about it even 2 weeks later.
Valid.
But yeah, DeAndre Hopkins on the open market. I think the Bills and Patriots are going to pursue him. But besides that point, I wanted to just bring up this. This is kind of a tough scene. Big Ben said on his podcast the other day that he was not pulling for Kenny Pickett this year. So that was a shocker to everyone.
Not really.
It was such a funny thing to say because, like, he doesn't have to go on the open mic and admit that he was going through this. But he went ahead and did it because that's just the kind of guy Big Ben is. And Big Ben, he got out there and admitted it. And then Kenny Pickett just the other day said he doesn't, no hard feelings about it, because that's just the kind of guy Kenny Pickett is.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
He doesn't give a shit. So
that's another guy that might not have dog in him. Kenny Pickett. He's too nice to have dog in him.
I do not agree with that one bit. I'm not saying that he's a full-blown dog, but it's just different for me the way I look at NFL players because I can see some mid-ass NFL players that have dog in them. It's just a different sport. You just have to have some dog in you. Now, there's some dogless NFL players, and now we're just getting back into dog talk, but it's just true. I feel like the NFL has the most dogs, and then it's the NBA, and then it's probably hockey, honestly, but I don't know shit about hockey.
I would actually say that hockey has more dogs than in the NBA.
Probably, but I don't know anything. But
exactly, we just don't watch it.
But also, NBA is more one player centric oriented, that really puts dogs in the spotlight. Because even your best player in the NHL, they're only playing a third of the game. So
that's true. Kind of like the MLB, you're only batting 3 or 4 times a game.
Mm-hmm. So,
all right, say hello, kiss, goodbye. Wrap up the show here.
All right,
short episode.
This one was weird from Twitter this week. It's still going on. Say hello to college teams and campuses boasting their weird food and attractions. They've been putting out. It started out with and maybe we can get the graphic on the YouTube if I send it to Luke and we both remember. It started out with Auburn posting this tweet on their football Twitter that Auburn is the only university with a Buc-ee's on their campus. And if you don't know what Buc-ee's is, it's that giant ass gas station that's pretty much like a mini mall in there. In fact, Fenton just got one. Fenton, Missouri.
They
It's
got
just off
Wally's,
44. Wally, sorry, that's
not
my bad.
Buc-ee's.
That's
That's
on me.
different.
I have been to a Buc-ee's in St. Augustine, Florida, but so I kind of get them confused a little bit. But they are the only team with the Buc-ee's. But every team now has just been memeing the shit out of Auburn by following up with their own. Like just recently, University of Memphis tweeted out, Memphis is the only college town that has a giant pyramid with a Bass Pro Shop inside of it. And Appalachian State is the only college campus with a double-decker Wendy's. There is what was it? Oh, Long Beach State is the only college campus with a McDonald's that has a dinosaur on the outside. They're just all boasting their own weird little attractions. It's become this weird trend. If you're interested in it, follow the Sickos Committee. They are retweeting pretty much every single one and then beveling the graphic to oblivion. So,
speaking of Long Beach State, since you brought it up, oh my gosh, I see the beveling of the dinosaur right now. Oh my god, that caught me off by surprise, but that actually makes sense. Where's it at? Long Beach State has it's like the big pyramid. They play in a big pyramid.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's what it is. They're like the only campus that plays inside of a pyramid.
Played home games in a pyramid, yes. So this is
I think it's volleyball.
That's on the YouTube right now. I'm holding my phone up. That's the pyramid.
You can
play volleyball and basketball in there. So pretty cool. Very cool, actually, if you ask me.
The old Memphis Grizzlies used to do that. Or maybe it was just Memphis State.
All right. Is that your say hello?
I think I have one more. Oh, say hello to Kanyeism for me. I just started listening to Kanye West, and it has been life-changing. His music is sick.
You just started?
I sent a text to one of our group chats the other day, and I said I'm going to start listening to Kanye, and I have some Kanye enthusiasts to guide me. Shout out Colin and Jake. They were able to get me started. I started with Graduation, which is my favorite. Greatest album to
start off with.
I think the greatest album probably that I've ever listened to. Then I've been going in order. I've been doing a new one every single night. I haven't had time tonight, but I've started. So I went and I'm going in order. So I did College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation again, 808s and Heartbreak, and then the next one is I think My Dark Twisted Fantasy. So that's on tap for tomorrow.
That's going to be
I'm excited.
Night.
I'm excited. We'll see what happens.
Once you listen to that album, you will never, ever, ever listen to a better album in your life.
That's your favorite, My Dark Twisted Fantasy?
That's my favorite album ever, of any artist ever.
That's good to hear.
And I think once you get past that, you'll get to The Life of Pablo, and The Life of Pablo has some of my favorite songs ever on there. As an album, it's lacking. There's some weird things on there, some weird Kanye things that he does, but you'll just ease your way along here. Like Graduation is where I started out with. I listened to that. I was like, this is the best album of all time. And then you listen to My Beautiful Dark and Twisted Fantasy, and you're like, it gets better. It really does. And it never gets old.
I'll probably give an update next week because I'll be close to done I still have a ton left. Yeezus, Donda, Life of Pablo, all that stuff. So, and I'm going in order, like I said. So, but yeah, it has been awesome. And if I had to rank them thus far, I would do Graduation, 808s and Heartbreak or whatever it is.
808s and Heartbreak. That's a good one too.
I really liked that one. And then I'd probably go Late Registration, then College Dropout, which apparently is surprising because College Dropout is Jacob Michael Baldwin's. That's like one of his favorites. So maybe Colin said that I just need to go back and listen to it later on again. And then you start to pick up even more songs that you're like, God damn, these are just bangers too. I just didn't realize it yet. Because each one, even College Dropout and Late Registration, both of them have songs in there that I just love, but it wasn't the whole way through like Graduation. Like I can sing along to every single song Graduation. It's that sick. So shout out to Kanye. And now I'm just like a Kanye defender on Twitter, which is just hilarious.
Okay.
It's so funny.
Can you separate the art from the artist?
No, I don't stand for a lot of the shit Kanye says, but it's funny to act like you do on Twitter.
So you can separate the art from the artist then, if you don't stand for what he says, but you love his music.
I guess
I'm the same way. I think he's I think he's kind of an idiot in real life. He might have something wrong with him, but his music is awesome.
Probably bipolar shit. Something probably just happened somewhere in between there because he definitely hit like a wall where he just started going absolutely bananas. But yeah. So yeah, those were my say hellos.
That was a great say hello too.
Thank you. Like I said, I'll probably be back with the full list maybe by next week or close to.
All right. My say hello is Twitter and just breaking the internet. So for many months, probably close to a year, I've been following this account on Twitter. Every Breaking Bad frame in order at breaking_frames. And for the last few weeks, we've been getting down to the end of the series. And the last few days have just been extreme because everyone who's watched the show knows the scene that's coming up. And it's like the most iconic scene. And over the last few days, it's been going through all the frames. And everyone is like, oh, man, this is going so slow. We're almost there. We're almost there. And finally today at 5:30, the scene dropped. And it already has 340,000 likes as well as 101,000 retweets. And this was 4.5 hours ago that it was tweeted. So this, it's breaking Twitter right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've been following that account since I started watching. And so it eventually caught up to me because I haven't finished the show. I'm actually planning to finish it with Jake this summer when he catches up to where I'm at so we could just watch it together at the end. But I have been following that account as well, and some of it is so nostalgic. That account, but it's so crazy how it literally posts literally every single frame. I mean, black screens and all. It posts literally every single second. Some of the cringiest shit from that show posts it all. So great account to follow, and it's just going to restart here once we're done.
It's going. The guy logged back, so it's like automated by a bot. He like coded it to tweet everything, and the guy logged back into it a few days ago, and because it's been getting a lot of traffic.
Oh,
and
shit,
he was like,
Twitter.
Yeah, he was like, do I start a new account for Better Call Saul or do I just turn this one into the Better Call Saul? And most people said turn this one into it. So I think he's going to do El Camino, which is the 2-hour movie that takes place right after Breaking Bad. And then he'll do Better Call Saul. So he's going to do the whole series.
That's interesting. I don't think this is the first time it's been through the cycle. I think this is like the second time. So maybe this time it just got so popular.
No, this is the first time. I'm pretty sure.
Well, then I've started following it like at the beginning of the account thing because I've started following it when it was in season 1 of the frames
in its infancy.
Yeah, I guess I thought it was just on a cycle.
It joined June 2021, and it also says it started June 22nd of 2021.
Okay, so I started watching it in 2022. Maybe it
Yeah,
was just like on the back end of season 1 frames when I started following it. So,
that could have been. Um, and then
all
my
right.
other say hello is the economy, because the United States did not reach a debt ceiling agreement today, and which basically means we're gonna hit the default and crash the economy. So I'd advise you, if you're about to do anything risky with your money, probably wait a little bit. I'm not an economist or anything, but I would advise you
But if
to
you
wait.
were an economist,
If I was an economist, I would heavily advise you, but I'm not, so I'm
shit,
just advising you.
I think my AirPods are about to die.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, let's wrap it up here.
All right. My kiss it goodbye was the 2023 senior class. Congrats, seniors. Shout out to some listeners. Who we got here? I think we got Ian. He listens from time to time. Maybe Hannon. I can't remember if he listened from time to time. Yeah, I think that's it pretty much
Mark,
for the
does
senior
he listen?
class. I don't think so.
Oh, shout out to former guest Trevor Burr as well.
Oh yeah, he graduated. Oh
Episode
yeah, we got plenty of
episode
guys
22.
graduating. Plenty of guys that just graduated that we're friends with. So, yeah, shout out to that class. Clap it up for the class. Good job. Good
Congratulations.
luck.
Was all that worth an was all that work and effort really worth just a piece of paper in a ceremony? Let's be honest.
No
No.
comment. At this
And all
time, no
again,
comment.
all the work that me and you are doing right now in college, once again, just for a piece of paper, is it worth it? This time we have a choice. The government forced us to do the first one. This one we actually have a choice in doing.
Yeah, it's kind of
So,
on us.
yeah,
It's on us,
it's our
really.
fault now.
So,
All right. Yeah, that's a great kiss of goodbye. My kiss of goodbye is my hair. So it's been a little bit over a month since I got a haircut, and I think it's the quickest I've gotten a haircut in about 3 or 4 years. Usually I wait about 2 to 3 months. It was just getting too long, so it's still not super short, but it's a kiss of goodbye. So yeah.
yeah, I need to cut mine too. I can't even comb it anymore. So,
Yeah, mine was getting to the point where I was running on the treadmill and my hair started sweating and it was like right on my eyes. And I'm like, yeah, it's time. It's time. Called the next morning and got it in. So becoming a hat guy, but becoming a clean cut guy as well. So
perfect.
all right, and that is episode 62. Thank you everyone for listening. And stay tuned for episode 63 because we haven't recorded any interview yet. So it's not official, but it is very likely to happen that we are going to have a very big interview next week. So
Next
stay
week or the
tuned.
following, we'll see.
Yeah,
It's very soon.
it'll definitely be one of the next two shows, but most likely next show. So stay tuned for that show because that's going to be a good one. You won't want to miss it. We haven't had a guest other than Jacob in a long time, so it's going to be big. And
Yes, we're very excited.
very excited. So everyone have a great week. Enjoy the first week of summer here for high school students, and continue enjoying your summer for college students. And we'll see you guys next week.